Senator Barack Obama. Hello, Senator.
How are you, sir?
Senator, it is a great honor and a privilege to have you on our show.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, believe me, Senator. The first question I want to ask you is a very basic one. Why should we elect you president?
Well, because I think that we're at a moment in our history where we need to break from the past in a fundamental way. We need to bring the country together. We've got to push off the special interests and lobbyists that have dominated Washington and start getting a government that is tackling in a pragmatic, practical way some real problems that ordinary folks are going through every day, whether it's losing their home to foreclosure or not having health care or seeing their wages and incomes flatline or seeing their loved ones deployed in Iraq. We've got some big issues, and we can't just have the same old stuff. And I've got 20 years of experience of bringing about real change.
You know, you mentioned experience, and your opponent, Hillary Clinton, keeps talking about hers, Senator, and I'm always amazed by this because most of her experience came not as the actual person, like Bill Clinton, but as the wife. How does she get away with using 35 years of experience when she's really only had 8 in the Senate?
Well, you know, it is a fact that she's been in the public eye for a long time.
Right.
So I think people just feel like they know her. She's been around. She's a very smart lady, and I think people respect her intelligence. But you're absolutely right that, you know, if you compare legislative experience, I was in the state legislature for 8 years before I went to the United States Senate. I've been in elected office longer than she has. And ultimately, the issue is not how long you've been in Washington. The question is, what kind of judgment do you bring to bear on the problems that we face?
Without a doubt. Senator, you gave an amazing speech on Tuesday. We were actually at the Constitution Center, but not giving as eloquent a speech as you were, believe me. And you talked about your white grandmother and how there was a time when even she feared black men and that she even occasionally would use a racial or ethnic stereotype. Right. What does she say now about you being so close to the presidency?
Well, you know, she's extremely proud, and the point I was making was not that my grandmother harbors any racial animosity. She doesn't, right. But she is a typical white person who, you know, if she sees somebody on the street that she doesn't know, you know, there's a reaction that's been bred into our experiences that don't go away, and that sometimes come out in the wrong way. And that's just the nature of race in our society. We have to break through it. And what makes me optimistic is you see each generation feeling a little bit less like that. And that's pretty powerful stuff.
Senator, but you will bear an extra responsibility as president in that you will be the first African-American president. How will you approach that? Will you see that as another thing that you have to, you know, take care of every day? People are going to be watching that.
Well, look, I think that if I'm in the Oval Office, I've got all kinds of things to worry about.
That's true.
You know, that comes with the job. But I wouldn't be running if I wasn't confident that I can help the country work through some of these issues at the same time as we're taking care of the business at hand, which is making sure that the economy is working for ordinary people, that they've got health care, that they can afford to send their kids to college, that we can end this war in Iraq that has cost us so dearly in blood and treasure.
Senator, your position on the ending the war in Iraq has fascinated me because your opponents are saying, but if that happens, if we do it the way Senator Obama wants to do it, we'll be empowering our enemies. How do you respond to that?
You know, we've empowered our enemies by going into Iraq in the first place. I mean, think about it. We diverted resources from Afghanistan, where bin Laden was and al-Qaeda was. Afghanistan now is more violent than any time since the Afghan war started. Bin Laden is still at large. Sent out a tape yesterday. We've spent more money on this war than any war in our history, and there's no end in sight. It has strained our alliances, fanned anti-American sentiment. It has been a strategic disaster, and what I've called for is a responsible withdrawal that would get our strategy back on the right track.
Thank you, Senator. You know what your schedule is. The one other thing I really wanted to know about is watching you on the campaign trail on Tuesday. It's such an immense thing that we ask you to do before we elect a person president. How has it changed you?
One of the good things is I think it makes me realize that actually I can handle stress fairly well. So, I tend to be a pretty calm guy, and I think that it's made me appreciate my family that much more because I sure miss them.
Oh, it's great. Senator, we can't thank you enough for the time you've given us, and if there's anything we could do to help you carry Pennsylvania, we would do it. You got a lot of fans here at WIP.
I look forward to seeing you guys. Maybe I can stop by the studio sometime.
Oh, please. That would be awesome. Maybe after you're president. Thank you, Senator.
Talk to you soon.
Senator Barack Obama. Oh, he was very eloquent, isn't he?
He's very good.
He just automatically exudes that charisma. Did you feel that out? Did you feel the charisma?
So he's coming in?
Well, it sounds like he's on his way in now.
Oh, just before the primary.
Good.
We'll definitely got to promo that if he comes in.
We'll talk about Alan with him.
Now we have to have,
that
what's
was
her name?
exciting. I'll tell you. What's that? Hillary.
Yeah, because it's equal.
No, there's no equal. 215-592-0610.
That's a sugar substitute.
Let me just say, all right, if Hillary does come on, there will be fewer softballs in the,
you think so?
in the arsenal. Oh, yeah.
I loved his response to your Hillary question.
He did.
It was so good because he said